Welcome to our podcast. Today we're diving into the fascinating topic of attention and focus. Let's get started.
Yes, attention is such a critical subject nowadays. Do you have any stories to kick us off?
Actually, there's this classic experiment from Princeton I wanted to share.
Oh,
It involved
interesting.
divinity students and the parable of the Good Samaritan.
Oh, the one where they test whether people would stop to help someone in need?
Exactly. So they had these students prepare sermons, some on the Good Samaritan parable,
Right.
and as they went to deliver it, they passed by a man who seemed in distress.
And did they stop to help?
Well, that's the fascinating part. It didn't matter what their sermon topic was.
Really?
What mattered was how much of a hurry they thought they were in.
That's surprising. So time pressure was the key factor, not their moral reflection?
Exactly. It's like we're so caught up in our own schedules that we don't even notice others.
Mm-hmm. That really hits home. But why do you think our attention is so under siege nowadays?
Well, our attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. With
Yeah.
smartphones and notifications, we're more distracted than ever.
Right. Sometimes I feel like my phone is just an interruption machine.
Exactly. I mean, I would be writing, get into a flow, and then need to look something
Right.
up. I'd open my browser, and suddenly I'm lost in news articles for 15 minutes before I remember what I was supposed to do.
Oh, I can totally relate to that. It's like the internet is designed to distract us.
It really is. And what's happening is that our attention is a commodity, and everyone is vying for it.
So true. But what can we do about it?
Well, one thing is to be more mindful about how we use our attention.
Right.
We can train ourselves to focus better.
But isn't mind wandering sometimes beneficial? I mean, doesn't it boost creativity?
You know, that's a good point. Mind wandering does play a role in creative insights. When we're
Exactly.
daydreaming, we're making connections we might not make otherwise.
So maybe it's not all bad. We just need a balance.
Absolutely, it's about balancing focus and allowing our minds to wander productively.
Yeah.
But the problem is when we're constantly distracted by external factors, we lose both focus and the quality of our mind wandering.
That makes sense. I read somewhere that leaders need different kinds of focus. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, definitely. Leaders need 3 types of focus: inner focus, other focus, and outer focus.
Mm-hmm.
Inner focus is about self-awareness and self-management.
So understanding oneself?
Exactly. Then there's other focus, which is about empathy and understanding others.
Right.
And outer focus is about understanding the larger systems and context we operate in.
That makes sense. But how do leaders develop these focuses?
Well, it's about training attention and being mindful.
Yeah.
For example, practicing mindfulness can strengthen our attention muscle, so to speak.
Speaking of mindfulness, how does that tie into managing emotions?
Great question. Mindfulness helps us become aware of our emotions without being overwhelmed by them.
Right.
It strengthens the connection between the prefrontal cortex and the emotional centers.
So it improves cognitive control?
Exactly. And that cognitive control is crucial for emotional intelligence, which is so important in leadership and relationships.
I've heard about the marshmallow test in kids. Does that relate to cognitive control?
Oh, yes, definitely. The marshmallow test is a classic study where kids are given a choice between 1 marshmallow now or 2 if they wait.
Right.
It measures their ability to delay gratification.
And that predicts future success, doesn't it?
Exactly. Kids who could wait tended to do better academically and socially later on.
Mm-hmm.
It shows how important self-regulation is.
That's fascinating. But with kids today, constantly on devices, are we harming their ability to focus?
That's a big concern. Excessive screen time can affect children's brain development.
Right.
The brain grows based on repeated experiences, and if those experiences are constant distraction, that's problematic.
So what can we do to help children develop better attention skills?
Well, introducing mindfulness practices in schools can be beneficial.
Absolutely.
Programs that teach social and emotional learning help kids manage their attention and emotions.
Like teaching them cognitive control?
Exactly. For instance, there's an exercise called breathing buddies, where kids watch a stuffed animal rise and fall with their breath.
Oh, that's
It
cute.
teaches them to focus and calms their minds.
That's a great idea. Incorporating mindfulness into activities they enjoy.
Yes, and it helps them build the mental muscle of attention. Plus, it aids in managing their emotions better.
I've heard that even shows like Sesame Street are helping kids with attention and emotions.
Yes, Sesame Street designs segments based on cognitive science.
Right.
For example, they have the Cookie Connoisseur Club, where Cookie Monster learns to control his impulses.
That's brilliant. Using familiar characters to teach valuable lessons.
Absolutely. By making it engaging, kids are more likely to absorb the lessons.
But what about the reliance on medication like Ritalin for attention issues? Is that necessary?
Well, I think we need to be cautious there.
Mhm.
Attention training and interventions might be more beneficial in the long term than pharmaceuticals.
Right, addressing the skill deficit rather than just the symptoms.
Exactly. And it's not just about attention, but also helping kids manage their emotions and social interactions.
So it's a holistic approach.
Yes, by focusing on building attention and emotional skills, we can help them succeed academically and personally.
I've noticed that emotions are contagious. Is there any science behind that?
Yes, absolutely. When we're around others, we can catch their emotions through empathy.
Interesting.
It's called emotional contagion, and it can have a big impact on groups.
So if a leader is in a bad mood, it affects the whole team?
Exactly. That's why it's so important for leaders to be aware of their own emotional state.
Right.
There's a story about a bus driver who transformed everyone's mood by being positive and engaging.
Oh, that sounds uplifting. But aren't our emotions mostly innate? I mean, we can't really control how we feel, can we?
Well, actually, we can influence them more than we think. Mindfulness and cognitive control can help us manage our emotional responses.
That's encouraging. So we have more control over our emotions than we realize?
Exactly. By paying attention to our internal states, we can respond rather than react.
This has been really insightful. I feel like I need to rethink how I manage my own attention.
Same here. It's all about being more mindful and intentional with where we focus our energy.
Well, thanks for sharing all this. Any final thoughts?
Just that, by paying attention to attention, we can improve
Right.
not only our own lives, but also positively impact those around us.
Couldn't agree more. Let's make an effort to be more present.
Absolutely. Thanks for the great conversation.
Thank you. Looking forward to our next discussion.